Hi, this is Tina, and thanks for taking time out of your busy day to join us here inside the Divine Joy Circle for another episode of Joyful Connections. And I'm happy to welcome back one of my special regular guests, Nalini from chaliceofwisdom.com. Welcome back, Nalini.
Thanks, Tina. It's good to be here.
Yay. Gosh, here we are at the end of October as we are recording this, 2016. I would love for you to share with us a bit about the energy forecast for November 2016.
Sure. Well, here we are at Halloween. And it's interesting because like all cyclic holidays, this has been usurped and plunked on a date on a calendar. And even those who celebrate the actual cycles, sort of celebrate it All Hallows Eve or Samhain at a traditional date. Samhain is actually, the cross quarter is actually celebrated when the sun is at 15 degrees of, I think it's Scorpio, I might get that wrong, but it's on the 7th of November for this particular one. So our gathering will be on that date. There's a shift that happens. The new moon is right about now. And this new moon, like all of them for the past few, is very, very powerful. And some people are really tired of hearing that. They're like, oh yeah, all these moons are powerful, I'm over it. Well, don't be over it, because we're all surfing the surface of the quicksand right now as far as what we can be free of. And the last 2 months, September and October, have been these really super powerful lunar cycles that have been meant to shed light on everything that is not working, which they certainly have done in the world, and everything that we still have in our physical bodies and physical life expression. The vibrations, the frequencies we hold in our physical bodies extrapolate into our experience of physical life. There's no separation there. So back when I was teaching a certain type of processing method, I would say, okay, symptom causing agreement. Fender bender, you stub your toe, same pattern, right? Because it's in the life or in the body, and same thing. Well, what's happening with our bodies right now is we are being given the opportunity to deeply clear everything from the whole last cycle of martyrdom. In these last 2 months, it's been really intense to flush that up. Pluto's been in the mix, just really, think about volcanic purging, just really bring up things that in consciousness, in awareness, in psychology, whatever, a lot of us have thought, oh, I've worked on that, I've got that. There can't be possibly anything more to see about that. And there isn't. I mean, that part's true. It's just, but these are the vibrations that were stored in our physical bodies. So for November, what's happening is Venus comes into the mix. Neptune at the end of November goes direct. So we still have a big inner focus. But Venus comes into the mix, which means there's a softening, and which means that the purging turns into the energy of catharsis. And this is what our bodies actually yearn for, is this movement of energy, what people call into and through the heart. It's really into the core of our light essence, and have that come through our DNA and have that shift. So as we move in, like the actual astrological cross quarter of Samhain, which is the 7th or 8th of November, depending on where you are in the world, be 8th for you. So there's a first quarter moon there that starts this shift. And then through toward the end of the month, it's the shifting, not so much in acceleration, it's still moving really, really quickly, but from this big intensive upheaval to, okay, now is the deep, nourishing, nurturing, acknowledging, supporting what we might call divine feminine energy, not to give it a gender, but to give it a quality that is moving into play in a really big way. Both the fierce compassion, the feminine warrior that protects the children and the animals, the four-leggeds, the finned ones, the winged ones, but really, gives them their voice and gives them the support. But that kind of thing, that kind of nurturing energy that comes in, and the way we can use that is it nurtures the bits in us, especially in our physical bodies, that never really were made whole, never really healed. Not so much this or that wasn't cured, because that's a different thing. That's a medical term. But these things really didn't come into wholeness, even though in consciousness or in awareness, they might have. But in the body, it's like, what is the body holding? The last 2 months were to purge all that up. This month is, okay, now let's bring it through the heart. Because in order to process fear, you have to bring it through the heart. You have to have compassion for your own fear. Start there. If you try and have compassion for all the fear in the world, you'll be busy for a while, so I wouldn't recommend it. Just for anything that your body is holding, instead of being upset with it, like, oh, why am I still afraid of that? Or, oh, this happens, or what? No, it's like, this is something that from your conception point, from your time in utero, from your time as an infant, the body felt the tiger in the room or felt the threat, and yet was told, conditioned by either your mother's energy if she was pregnant with you, or the energy in the home, whatever it was, the environment, that, well, yes, there's a threat, but you have to let this into your body because that's just how things are here. And bonus, you have to blind yourself to it, because if you see it, a light being that you are, you will bail. You will leave this experience. And what you say you wanted was to come in for the new cycle of abundance and to hit that cycle in an adult or a mature sort of body, a grown-up body, that you don't have to be an infant during that cyclic shift, because that's really hard. Those are who are coming in as infants or as little young ones right now. These are brave souls. This is time, because everything's shifting. Their bodies are programmed one way, and the energies of the cycle and of their spirits that are coming in are different. So they'll just pop through this stuff as an example, as a role, for everyone else, but so can we. So November has this other deeper current, like the deep current of the ocean, the deep current of the tide swell coming in that says, this is what will support you. And it's bringing all of that stuff into these energies. So there are possibilities for huge catharsis within this next month of just what does open the heart. It's wide open heart energy. Venus and Pluto together is just massive opening. And then Neptune is stationed, so is really stationed in a focus, hasn't gone direct yet. And so the astrology is supporting all of this, where this deep catharsis of what does your heart really yearn for? And what are you now going to let go of, to stop being angry at, to stop being outraged by? I mean, you might still have those feelings, but stop engaging the so-called fake enemy, the thing that appears to be the problem, and open up, let that perception open up so you really can see and perceive, wow, there was a tiger in the room all the time, which just meant there was an energy that was inappropriate for me, for the being that I am. And I agreed, in order to be here in a body, in order to have one, especially if it happened in utero, you can't have the body if it isn't birthed, right? Then to blind myself to it, but to continue to accept these energies. So a pattern that I see in a lot of people is, how are these energies still getting in? How do I still have an opening to this after all this time? Well, it's because of this. There's an agreement that was made into the body. I just did a new audio for that. It's called New Cycle Conception Hack. And it's like, here's the agreement. Come into your body, here's what you signed up for, and you can ask Source to shred that now. And you must, because there's a new cycle, and that won't serve you. Because your body knows what's there. It's like for your whole life, for anybody's whole life, depending on how much light you hold, and it's different for everyone and different qualities of light and love. But it'll be, I'm uncomfortable in this room, or I'm uncomfortable in this situation, and you're looking around and your parents or your teachers or whoever are saying, that's silly, don't be afraid, that's your imagination, while your body is actually saying, hello, there's something poisonous in the room here, this isn't good for you. Well, those blinders need to come off now, and that agreement needs to be acknowledged, and then have compassion for yourself that you made it, we all did, and let it go finally. Don't sit there and fight it, rebel against it, try and, wrestle it to the mat with processing. And I was talking to someone I work closely with the other day, and she's saying, okay, I'll take everything you just said and I'm going to go off and process it. I said, or you could let it go right now. You're sitting here with me. Why don't you just let it go? It's like, that never occurred to me. I thought I had to. I'm like, yeah, this is what everyone thinks they have to do, because we all did that in the last cycle. This month is an opportunity to say, all right, whenever that stuff is, it's up because I need to see it. I need to just acknowledge, actually, that's all you need to do, and then ask Source to move the light through that will flood it out, to bring that support energy that will simply change it once and for all. And the little corollary agreements that are programmed into the body are, if you let all this go at once, the body will die. It's a survival mechanism for the martyrdom cycle that was programmed into the body. It is not true. So if you say to your body, I acknowledge that, whatever words you want, I acknowledge that you know the truth and that you won't die, you won't be put to death, this won't make you bestowed, this won't, nothing will happen, you're not going to spontaneously combust, but this really needs to be let go. You'll be amazed at how your body comes right up to be your ally, because it knows your original intention in having a body was to be present for this cycle. So this month is where the support for that really comes in through our physical bodies and our physical lives. So it's this upwelling of divine love, of the infinite field, that some may feel it that way. Some may feel it as though like all the heartbreak you've ever had in any lifetime comes up. But if it does that, it's so that it can be washed clean. Just let it move through and go. And one of the locks that's being unraveled this month is where everyone has shut down their second chakra energy, if you want to speak chakras, because we have them because we believe they do. We do. It's funny. But shut down that, which is your healing energy. It's actually your creative energy. It's a lot of other things besides just sexuality, and just is a stupid word. But shut that down. And what that does is it weakens the third chakra, which weakens your personal will. And you need a strong one to get through this. It strengthens your survival programming in the root center. And because your will center is shut down, it weakens the expressive center in the throat. And it means that your perceptive centers, your higher centers, just because they're higher in the body, and your expressive center can't be connected through the heart to your power. That's the mechanism of what the pattern that's up for clearing. So let it clear. Just go, oh, that's what's going on. Ooh, now I need to go look at that. Now I need to go analyze it. No, you don't have that kind of time. It's like, just let her take it. That's why it's up. So November proves to be interesting, deeply cathartic, but in a really good way. You'll see it'll be different than the last couple of months in a way that's better.
Beautiful. Yeah, so interesting. I mean, I find that with all the talk about the light downloads, and we're receiving all this activation of the light coding within us, that it feels on the one hand that where the body is receiving all the support to really make that transition into fully embodying the light that we are, and then where this may get a little gnarly is if there are still habits of behavior in there that are just often unconscious and maybe passed down as part of the operating system or something, that got us to this point.
Basically, it's in the body. It's in the physical body. This is the physical body stuff. And it's hooked into emotions, so it might be feelings that are stored in the body. It's definitely vibrations. But yeah, this is the body saying, okay, the light is coming in as it was meant to do and pushing this stuff out. But then the body has these agreements that aren't its fault. We asked it, like, wait, hold on to that, move that over here, because that's a coping mechanism for the martyrdom cycle. But that cycle's over. We don't need those anymore. The body, if you say that to the body, you feel the feeling. It's like the body says, oh, okay.
Cool.
Instead of letting your emotions, your mind go, oh, wait, I might have missed something. I didn't do it perfectly. There's no such thing as perfect. Just let it go.
Mm-hmm. So what are some...
Sorry, what are some?
What are some ways, maybe some practical tips that you have that we can all engage in every day to support us? Really allow the body to just adjust.
Well, for one thing, allow yourself some kind of quiet time every day, whether it's meditation, and not in the old ways of, I'm going to sit really rigid up and I'm going to push myself up into the light. That won't work. You need to let it in. It needs to be receptive. Let the light come through the body, whether it's meditation, contemplation, a walk in nature. Very important. Go outside and not on concrete at some point every day. And even if you're surrounded by concrete, find a tree, even one that's in one of those little squares, and say hello. Even that. connect with the natural world, whatever you're able to do. And those things will ground that light through the body. It shows the body, oh, I am part of this world, because it is. It came from Gaia. It came from this world. And the world is going through transition, and the body is supported. So bring the light in, spend some time in nature as much as you can, but even if it's 5 seconds. And then start to use some new tools. There's a new tool that was downloaded just the other day. We're calling it a light hack. So it's a new little tool that, instead of doing the whole big dualistic processing thing, it's all right when something is up, and there's a lot up for everyone. There's 13 steps, which is just do this, look at this, and let it go. Because we are all being held in, Abraham Hicks described it at one point as the hurricane of grace. There's all this stuff flying around you, but it's grace. Well, this is a little different than that. This is the hurricane of grace showing up as everything you haven't let go of. It's still grace, but it's flavored crunchily. And so if you feel it that way, but that can all, you are actually in that calm center of it if you let yourself be, if you stop flying around in the debris and just let yourself be, and then let it all collapse. Not dualistically, not like bringing two sides of the pendulum to center. That's way too flat for what's going on now. This is holistic. It's a torus in your field. So this new light hack, there's a little ebook, and I'm actually doing a gathering this next month to teach this, and for letting people clear with it. That will allow it to clear in a whole new way. It's a holistic clearing. Clears a torus within your field, not a linear set of patterns. Those were all from the old cycle. The old cycle is over. It's like time to put away the board and the pieces, close the box, and bin it. I mean, just let all of that go. So some new things that come in, or music, sound, anything that really uplifts you, literally letting joy be your guide. What is joyful for you? Letting that navigate you, and listen to your body, because it knows, and really give it okay, what is your unconditioned perception of these energies? And then Source will just move you around and away from something that's inappropriate. And the biggest thing that I see in those I work with is that you don't believe it. No one believes it. They say, oh no, I'm always being put through this stuff. It's like, yeah, because you signed up for the martyrdom cycle, and that was the way it was. But not now. I mean, I was put through stuff too. The whole last 7 years has been, one major life change after another. And you think my body wasn't at some point saying, no more, sure. But, it's over. So it's really now letting that come through, letting the body be your joy guide, be one of them. Say, oh, my body doesn't know it's joyful. Yes, it does. Give it a little credit. You built it from light, and then let yourself be navigated to what works and what doesn't, and let that draw in magnetically. Huge magnetic storms right now, and they're only going to dissipate a little bit in this next month, to really shake loose what works for you and what doesn't, and bring in what works. It is time for this upswell to bring in what works for you, not what you had to settle for. Very important. You really let it bring in what works. If something doesn't feel right, it isn't right. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, beautiful. So anything else that you feel like sharing about November?
Gosh, that's not enough. I think
just in case.
Mostly just this big upswelling of the deep energies, the supportive energies that really are going to create a catharsis for each of us and for the whole world. And that isn't a bad thing. It's a healing thing. So to just literally go with it, go with those currents that work for you, and let go of the debris, let go of the idea that if I go into the current, I'm going to be bashed across the rocks. No, that's an old cycle belief system. So let those things let go and really choose to trust. Just even when you're not doing it, just choose it with everything that you are, and you'll be navigated through this miracle by miracle by miracle, and you'll see it. That will happen. Yeah. Even little ones.
Yeah, many beautiful things happening. Oh, it feels really exciting. And how about a little glimpse before we wrap up, as we're almost at the end of this year? So if the last 2 months have been this intense purging and clearing, and we're in this energy of catharsis in November, what's December looking like? We're going to go into depth in that next month, but just curious.
Sure. It's interesting because where those of us who see, it's sort of our thing, we haven't really been able to see much for a couple of years now, but now it's interesting because the deeper currents, the broader currents can be seen. The day-to-day is literally being seen day-to-day, but the deeper current for moving into December and into the solstice is this huge cathartic wave will bring up a whole fresh field or fresh fields out of the infinite of what would be called in human terms heart-based awareness, heart-based consciousness. And this is what is going to accelerate and open wider through the solstice. I think that everyone will find that these situations you have around you at the solstice, you will find that they are now energetically correct. It's going to shift us. And so it's really good to let the fear go, let go of anticipation of a negative event. I just posted an article about that because that's one of the worst symptom-causing agreements from the martyrdom cycle. You don't want to bring that into this. It's like that's the thing that will put you into the quicksand when you were sailing over it happily. You know, it's like, oh, anticipation of a negative event, yeesh, take you down. You know, but December, those energies are going to settle out a bit, but it really will be what we have moved into in November will take us through and be deepened and supported in December. So we're going to hit that solstice energy, that big wide opening of more light from a place where we're seeing, even if it's not fully manifested in the physical, we are seeing the energies, the vibrations, the people, places, things, circumstances, synchronicities that really do support the being of who we are. And it's going to be quite eye-opening. You know, not in a bad way, in a really miraculous and surprising and, oh my gosh, kind of way. This is really possible in this life. Yes, it will be now.
Beautiful.
So,
yeah, so beautiful. And I find it just really, really nurturing and nourishing to receive these messages as reminders, you know, to realize that for everyone watching, listening, there's so much stuff happening, so much going on. And when you have an opportunity to tune in and to receive the messages being shared here, it can just be really like soul food to support through this time. So it's really, really lovely. So thank you, Nalini.
You're welcome. It's fun.
Yeah, and we'll be back for more. And for everyone watching, listening, go forth. Let joy be your guide to a life that is worth waking up for every day. And until we all meet again, many joyful blessings.